Alhamdulillah, all praise is for God. If you are watching this video, I want to introduce you to my new book, Dawkins Deselected, The Extinction of New Atheism. I'm squinting because the sun is in my eyes. It's the beautiful sunlight of East Africa. And I thought I'd give you some of my thoughts on the book. Now, the first thing to know is, what's the need to write a book on Dawkins? Now, Richard Dawkins is a cultural icon. He is somebody who is an idol, in fact, for the atheists. You would find that many atheists in the world today, they refer to his book, The God Delusion, as a holy book, as a Quran, as a Bible, as a Torah. Now, when it comes to the new atheist movement, let's remember what happened. 9/11 took place. There was a hatred of religion, and Islam in particular, and you had the rise of new atheism with the likes of Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, and Sam Harris. Now, these people, they collectively were known as the Four Horsemen. They went ahead and created a movement, a sociological movement the Western world hasn't seen yet. And this particular movement was so powerful that you could find all of these cells or branches or organizations all across the world, secular humanism, and in fact not just secular humanists but also people who are advocating for human rights, and everybody just basically came together and pushed out their narratives. Now, what was the crux of the argument? The crux of the argument was that it is irrational, it is childish, it is immature, it is beyond rationality to believe in a supernatural, in supernaturalism, in something beyond nature, in the metaphysical. And they should also, not only were they arguing that people should give up their belief in spirituality or God, but they also were saying to us that it is a cause of great harm in the world that you have all this religion. Now, what I've done in this book is I've interviewed many of the people who are critics of Richard Dawkins. So I've interviewed Michael Ruse, who, according to Dawkins, was the Neville Chamberlain of the evolutionists. So Neville Chamberlain, the famous prime minister who tried to appease Hitler at Munich, and he ended up with egg on his face. He ended up with Hitler betraying him, betraying the treaty, and actually causing World War II. So he himself is like a Churchill. That is what he's basically saying in his book, and he doesn't say the word explicitly Churchill, but you get the point. He's supposed to be the brave one. Michael Ruse is supposed to be the weak one. Now, Ruse's criticisms of Dawkins is something that I covered in my interview with him, and also in this book I've included what those criticisms are. I've included the criticisms of Alistair McGrath, who wrote the famous book The Dawkins Delusion, and this is one of the books that Ruse commented on, that this book basically is one of the reasons that this book basically shows why he's embarrassed to be an atheist after because of Richard Dawkins' works. So I've got all that philosophy in there, all of the arguments that he makes in The God Delusion, the central argument, universal Darwinism, all this stuff that he's arguing for. I basically refute it using Ruse, using Alistair McGrath, using actually a lot of people. In fact, I've included the brief discussion between Hamza Sotzis and Richard Dawkins, that's in there as well, and also many other reasons why he's completely false. He's patently false when it comes to his argument against God. His imperial scientism is tackled as well. So you'll find a lot of solid refutation in that book against Dawkins' ideas. As well as the intellectual arguments, they are the emotional or moral sort of arguments that he makes against religion, and I thoroughly refute them. I go into evolutionary biology, evolutionary psychology, show how his arguments from the God Delusion do not hold water, and I also go into what the atheists have been up to. So the new atheists, remember, they were trying to piggyback off the back of the war on terror, which was basically a war on Islam. And you had the likes of Christopher Hitchens supporting the Iraq war. So many of these guys were bloodthirsty when it came to the Muslim world. In fact, even today, Sam Harris, who is a new atheist, he is a firm Zionist and a supporter of the genocide against the Palestinian people. So I don't just go into the things that have been happening in recent times, but also historically what atheists did against the Muslim world. And you have millions of dead in the 20th century due to the atheist regimes, communist China, communist Russia, in Cambodia, the communists, what they did in Albania and Mongolia. You have so many dead people because of atheism, because of state atheism, I should say. I should make a distinction between new atheists and atheists, because obviously there's atheists who are moral, who, you know, don't believe in any of this type of nonsense. But sometimes in speaking, I don't make that qualification. I do want to make it clear I'm not referring to all atheists here. This is to the new atheists and their movement. However, we can't run away from the fact that those people who committed those heinous acts were naturalists, were atheists. Another thing I go into is why the movement fractured, why you had the feminists breaking away from them, why you had Matt Dillahunty and his famous spat with Dawkins. So why all these things happen? Now, fundamentally, the book is not only a history, not only a philosophy of new atheism and challenging its scientific pretense, but also the movement from a sociological perspective and why it failed. Lastly, what I get into is the spirituality aspect of it. So this is something the new atheists couldn't really do. They couldn't really provide a spiritual solution to the world's problems, the longings that we actually have. Sam Harris, in his book Waking Up, tried to address this particular problem, and he realized if the new atheists don't address it, if the atheists don't address it, this is a massive gap that's going to be exploited. And I challenge his view on spirituality and show why none of it makes any sense. You're going to love this book, inshallah, God willing. You are going to love the absolute takedown of new atheism intellectually, philosophically, historically, and you will see, especially in the last chapter, why spirituality is so important and why movements like new atheism are bound to fail. So you can get the book from Amazon on the link below. You can also get the free PDF from the Sapiens website. So check it out below. Dawkins Deselected, the extinction of new atheism. And drop me an email, drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Obviously review the book as well. And inshallah, I will, take all the feedback that I can. And in fact, this is, I've done 2 books now, alhamdulillah, with the permission of Allah. So Dawkins Deselected is the second one. The first one was Dawkins versus Noble, the death of neo-Darwinism. And there's a third book which is going to be out, inshallah, this year. And that's going to be a real surprise, inshallah. So that's it. The sun's been in my eyes for a very long time. And I'm just going to put this video out, and I hope you enjoyed it.